friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Today we got ourselves a Blu-ray review of Pokemon Detective Pikachu in glorious 4K. So, yeah, I got myself the just simple 4K release. I was kind of wanting to get the Steelbook for this, but sadly I didn't pre-order it, and my Best Buy was out of them. Story of my life. But anywho, so as you can see here on the cover, we got Justice Smith and Ryan Reynolds looking over Rhyme City, that really cool neo-noir vibe going on there, which I really like about the movie. But over here it says the Blu-ray includes detective mode, which is a pretty cool feature that the movie does have, but we'll get into that in just a moment. So now if we take off Mr. Slipcover here, so then here on the back you got your usual information along with a Pika Pika. So of course, as per usual, you got your Blu-ray disc and your 4K disc. But okay, it must be kinda humid in here because I'm getting some weird like moisture on the inside of the case. That's rather odd, but anywho, so one of the really cool things that I believe comes with every edition of this movie is a collectible Pokemon card. And I don't know if they're like different per release or anything, but this one just of Detective Pikachu himself with some powers and damage and all that goodness. I don't know, I wasn't really into collecting Pokemon cards when I was a kid, so I could be totally wrong about that, but there's the back side. Looks like a classic Pokemon card there. Really cool, really cool. And of course, here's the digital download copy code. Whoever gets it first can have it. Enjoy yourself. Now, this is usually the part where I say something witty about enjoying the code, but it's just really not coming to me today. You know, it's something I gotta feel, and today I don't feel it in my jellies. So, before we go any further, I'll tell you my thoughts on the movie itself, because unfortunately, back in May when this came out, I didn't do a video on it. Yeah, it's kinda sucky because I saw it in the theater and intended to, but it didn't happen, which, you know, it seems to be like every couple months or so I'll get into that little, like, weird slump where I want to make movie reviews, but I don't, but then I make up for it with the Blu-ray reviews, so it kind of balances itself out. So, yeah, just to give you my quick thoughts on the movie itself, I thought it was pretty good. Ryan Reynolds was great as Detective Pikachu. You know, he brought his unique Ryan Reynolds sense of humor into this very famous Pokemon character, which I think just translated really, really well into this movie. You know, and from what I've heard, there's like a long series of R-rated outtakes of Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu. I really hope we get to see that someday, but we probably won't because this is a kids movie. But yeah, some people thought maybe like Danny DeVito should have been Pikachu in this movie, which, yeah, I do kind of see that, but honestly I think Reynolds was the better choice overall. I'm sorry, Danny! So before I say anything further, let me just say that I'm not like the world's biggest Pokemon fan or anything. You know, it's a franchise that was kind of a little bit in my childhood, so it's not an overly nostalgic thing for me. I never really got into like the card games or a lot of the movies or shows a lot, so it's something that I don't dislike. I have nothing wrong with it, and I do remember playing like hand-me-down Game Boy versions of the original 3 or 4, so I do have some Pokemon memories, but what I'm trying to say is I didn't come into this movie as like a Pokemon fanboy or anything, but you know, I still understood like, you know, where some of it was kind of, you know, fan service, like, oh look, there's that Pokemon, oh there's that reference, oh there's this reference, oh look, is that the theme song? But you know, aside from that, I think this movie had a really good story to it. You know, I love the neo-noir vibe that this movie has, you know, with the neon lights everywhere and just kind of gives you this detective feel to it, which is really cool. I love neo-noir, so, and I really like how this was a more or less grounded mystery story. You know, wasn't trying to tell this overly grand adventure. You know, of course, it's a big CGI spectacle movie, so there's gonna be big Pokemon fights and some destruction, stuff like that, but overall, it's all about these two characters trying to solve a mystery, and I think it's really, really cool. The big problem I have with the movie, though, is that in the third act, everything kinda strays away from that and just goes into big final action sequences scene with a Pokemon attack on the city, and then, you know, certain reveals about different characters at the end that was a little bit ridiculous. So the movie does kind of go a little bit downhill towards the very end of it, but aside from that, I really enjoyed Detective Pikachu. You know, I think going like the direction of something a little more specific like Pokemon Detective Pikachu was a good way to go for the first live action movie, because even though I'm not a diehard fan of like the original animated show, I feel like if they tried to say adapt that into a movie, people would have probably been less nice to it, because, you know, it's like, you know, they wouldn't see Ash, Ketchum, or Brock, or any of the other characters. They'd see them a certain way, so probably wouldn't gel with their live action tastes. So I think doing something a little more obscure like this was definitely the way to go. So, picture and sound quality, the movie looks really, really good in both Blu-ray and 4K. You know, this movie has some really, really good CGI on the Pokemon. You know how Pikachu is so lifelike and fuzzy and adorable looking, something that the filmmakers behind the Sonic movie will hopefully be taking notes on. And as far as the bonus content goes, you know, like I say over and over and over again, it's a lot of your typical run-of-the-mill featurettes, but of course, this being a kids movie, it is watered down a little bit more than that, because, you know, the kids aren't going to be popping this movie and probably wanting to learn every last little secret about this movie, but there are a couple of really fun bonus features in here, like an audio commentary with Mr. Mime about his Mr. Mime scene in the warehouse, you know, the one that was in the trailer. Now, it's an audio commentary for a Pokemon that doesn't speak, so naturally it's just the same scene, but, you know, supposedly with Mr. Mime's dialogue, you know, really kind of effortless, but still kind of funny. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the Blu-ray includes the detective mode, which, before you say anything, no, it has nothing to do with seeing through walls, figuring out which enemies have guns, and figuring out crime scenes and stuff. Basically, if you choose to play the movie with detective mode on, some facts and stuff about different Pokemon that appear on screen, and different little notes from the making of the film, including video from the director and the crew and stuff, and some behind the scenes footage will pop up, which I think is really, really cool, and it is something that's been done before on different Blu-ray releases. You know, the one I can think of off the top of my head is Batman Begins. That one is fantastic, so if you haven't seen the Batman Begins one with the picture-in-picture detective mode type thing, I highly recommend it. So, but I think it's really cool that they're still doing this kind of thing sometimes, because I think it adds, you know, some more depth to it, you know, the bonus features, and it gives you a chance to learn more about, like, what goes into every single scene, and, you know, what the filmmakers were trying to achieve there. So, I really like that kind of thing. It's a shame we don't get that kind of stuff more often, so I really appreciate Warner Brothers for putting that in this release, because, you know, it's just a really cool feature. So, those are my thoughts on the Pokemon Detective Pikachu on 4K. If you guys picked up this movie, or if you just simply seen the movie, or if you think the only reason Ryan Reynolds agreed to play Pikachu is just so he can fill the next Deadpool movie full of Detective Pikachu jokes, let me know what's down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.